Have you ever seriously wondered how someone becomes a millionaire before they're even old enough to vote? Well, today we're diving into the 7 principles from entrepreneur Iman Gaji who actually did it. And this isn't about some lucky break. It's a specific mindset, a really strict set of rules that he says can get you there too.
And here's the man himself, just laying it out there. He's the first to tell you that this kind of success, at that age, it's just not normal. It's a total outlier. But he argues it's possible because he followed a very specific code. That's a huge claim, right? So let's actually break down the principles he says got him there. So here's how we're going to break this all down. We're going to start with this core idea of being a pawn, then we'll get into why image and humility are so important. After that, we'll talk about managing relationships, and finally, we'll look at the actual strategy for keeping and, growing your money.
Okay, so principle number 1, pawn before king. This is really the foundation for everything else. It's all about respecting the process and understanding that you don't just get to be the king on day 1. Nope, you have to start as a pawn.
You've basically got 2 roles here. On one hand, there's the pawn. The pawn earns their stripes, does the dirty work. They're the ball boy. They shut up and they listen. The problem Gaji sees today is that everyone wants to skip that part. They want to jump straight to being the king, leading the team, making the calls, commanding respect, without ever learning the rules of the game from the absolute bottom.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. This isn't about getting pushed around or being demeaned. It's about finding the honor and starting from scratch. There's real value, real nobility in paying your dues and learning what it's like at the bottom of the ladder. All right, next up we've got principles 2 and 3, which are all about image and humility. This is basically how you look to the outside world, and maybe more importantly, how you keep your own ego from spiraling out of control.
Here's the thing about principle 2. When you're young, people are already looking for an excuse to write you off. They're going to try to discredit you because of your age. So why give them any more ammunition? Your clues can either confirm their bias or completely shatter it. The whole goal is to dress in a way that makes you seem more mature, more serious than the number on your driver's license.
Now, this doesn't mean you have to walk around in a 3-piece suit all the time. Not at all. It's about a clean, classic, timeless style. So no huge flashy logos, simple, well-fitted t-shirts, good trousers, not baggy, but definitely not skinny jeans either. Maybe a smart blazer. It's about clothes that command a kind of quiet respect. And this leads us to a really big one. When you start winning, especially when you're young, it is so easy to become arrogant. So how do you actually keep your feet on the ground? Well, principle 3 says you need something external in your life that literally forces you to stay humble. And he gives this perfect example from his own life. Imagine this. You're 17, you're on top of the world, and you hire your very first full-time employee. This person literally moves from another country for the job and then quits in 4 days. The market just handed him a massive, brutal, and totally necessary lesson. And you can see the outcome right here. That failure forced him to think, hey, maybe I'm not the genius I thought I was. Maybe I'm not a great leader. And that single dose of humility right then was the spark that helped him become a better leader later on, which is why he gets tens of thousands of people applying to work for him now. Okay, moving on to section 3, relationships and circles. So we've talked about you, the individual. Now let's talk about the people you surround yourself with. Principles 4 and 5 are all about protecting your focus and your energy by being super strategic with your relationships. Look, principle 4 is really direct. When you're in what he calls your building years, casual dating is just a massive waste of focus. It's a distraction. According to this philosophy, you have 2 options. Either you're with a serious partner who is on board with your mission, or you're completely alone and focused only on that mission. Trying to play the field is just a drain on your energy, and it puts you at a serious disadvantage. And that serious partner, that's what he calls a day 1. It's someone who's there with you from the very beginning, through all the struggles and the tough times. He says there is literally nothing on this planet more valuable than that. Not money, not status, nothing. And this same idea extends to your friendships. Principle 5 is all about knowing the difference between an acquaintance and a real friend. It's fine to have a wide network, be cool with everyone, but your inner circle, that has to be incredibly small, filled only with loyal people that you trust with your life. All right, let's bring it home with our final 2 principles, tests and investments. This is all about what happens when you actually start to see some success. Because let's be real, making the money's one thing, what you do with it after, that's a whole different ballgame. This quote really sets up Principle 6 perfectly. I mean, becoming successful, awesome, congrats. But can you keep it? And even more than that, can you make it grow? That first big win isn't the finish line. It's actually just the start of the real test. And that test is a test of your character. The idea here is that if you don't choose to stay humble, the universe or God, whatever you believe in, will find a way to humble you. It's about not being the guy who makes his first big score and immediately starts posting pictures in a rented G-Wagon. That's a sign you are failing the test. So, the final principle, number 7, is the game plan for how to pass that test. It's simple. As soon as you make a serious amount of money, your number one job is to push it away from yourself as fast as possible. How? By investing it in stuff that's hard to sell quickly, like property or physical gold. You're intentionally making your money difficult to get to. And here's exactly why that's so important. This quote nails the psychology. When you're young, the single biggest threat to your new wealth is you. It's your own dumb, impulsive decisions. So investing in these illiquid assets is basically just a system to protect your money from yourself. So let's get to the bottom line. That was a ton of information. So let's just do a quick-fire recap of all 7 principles that make up this blueprint. Okay, let's run through them. 1. Be a pawn before you're a king. 2. Dress to elevate. 3. Let something external keep you humble. 4. No casual dating. 5. Keep your inner circle tiny. 6. Know that success is a test. And 7. Invest your money so you can't touch it. It's a whole system for not just making wealth, but actually keeping it. And really, that's what it all comes down to. The principles are laid out, the path is clear, so the only real question left is a personal one for you. Is your discipline strong enough to actually follow through?